Xanadu, a funky musical released in 1980, which combines fantasy and Greek mythology with roller discos. And why not? It tells the story of a struggling artist called Sunny, who instantly falls in love with a mysterious woman called Kira. After pursuing her, Sunny discovers that she is a Greek goddess, whom convinces Sunny to help to create a disco nightclub called Xanadu. All while, Sunny must try to convince Kira's father, Zeus, to allow her to be with him. In this movie, which showcases roller skates, the music of Electric Light Orchestra, and of course the talents of the always beautiful Olivia Newton-John. For the longest time, Xanadu really wasn't a well-liked movie. Xanadu? More like Xanadon't, am I right? But in recent years, people have actually really started to enjoy this movie and say, don't be mean. It's actually all just a misunderstood classic. So let's look into 10 things that you didn't know about Xanadu. So maybe we can try and see why it wasn't the box office pinnacle that many believed it deserved to be. Let's check it out. Number 10. Roller Disco Extravaganza. The original premise of Xanadu was to just be a low-key, small-budget roller disco movie. No doubt to capitalise on the roller disco craze of the late 70s and early 80s. However, due to the release of other roller disco movies at that time, like Skate Town USA and Roller Boogie, both of which were released in 1979, led to the script to go through many rewrites, till it became the extravagant production seen on screen, with muses and Greek gods. In fact, according to Olivia Newton-John, there were so many rewrites taking place, the script was even being changed and rewritten during the movie's shoot. It has also been suggested that Xanadu can also be seen as something of a remake of a 1947 movie called Down to Earth, which is also about a muse, this time played by Rita Hayworth, who arrives in the realm of human civilization and falls in love with a male mortal. Number 9. Casting possibilities. Xanadu was being backed up by Universal Pictures, and was also being produced by Joel Silver and Lawrence Gordon, whom would actually go on to produce several action movies from the later 80s, including the Die Hard and Predator films, as well as filmmaker Robert Greenwald, who was tasked as being the movie's director. Now, his original choice for Kira was always Olivia Newton-John, no doubt due to her role of Sandy in the hugely successful Grease 2 years earlier. When it came to the movie's male lead of Sunny, that part proved a little tricky-dicky to cast, as the production was searching for the right male lead. According to IMDb, the original choice for the part was BG Barry Gibb, but it didn't work. John Travolta was also being considered, but he was too busy filming Urban Cowboy. And Olivia Newton-John has suggested a young Mel Gibson. Although he wasn't really known in the States yet, at the time he had just starred in the apocalyptic car chase movie Mad Max. However, the production decided to go less Max Rokitansky and more warriors, with the casting of Michael Beck, who likewise had just starred in a tough guy role, that being Swan in the as-mentioned The Warriors. Not to mention, of course, the movie also features the legendary Gene Kelly, who's probably best known for Singing in the Rain, among many other things, with Xanadu being his last movie performance. Number 8. The craziness that was the writing of Xanadu. So, by many accounts, the actual writing process of Xanadu seemed to be a little all over the place. A little? Okay, probably a lot. What with the constant changes to the script, which, as mentioned, Olivia Newton-John would go on to say, the script was still being written and rewritten during the movie's shoot. But the movie's scriptwriting difficulties seemed to really reach its peak when producer Joel Silver had to take drastic actions to get the script on the go. Once again, according to IMDb, the producer held one of the scriptwriters to ransom by locking him in a room for 3 days, forcing him to work on the script. Silva would go on to say, quote, "The son of a bitch just wouldn't deliver, so I locked him up." Wow! If this story is true, then what we can take away from this is if Joel Silva tells you to write a script, you better write it. Yeah, Joel Silva sounds a little scary. Still, he did get Electric Light Orchestra to make the music for Xanadu, so there's that. Number 7, filming location. The set filming of Xanadu was filmed at Hollywood Center Studios, with the set of the Xanadu nightclub being filmed on Stage 4, which is located in Hollywood, Los Angeles. The exterior of the Xanadu nightclub was filmed at the Pan Pacific Auditorium, also located in Los Angeles. Even when not lit up by the movie's special effects, the exterior of the Pan Pacific Auditorium was pretty amazing. It almost looks kind of steampunk. Although when filming took place, the building was really run down, and sadly it was destroyed by fire in 1989. While filming the Suddenly sequence, Olivia Newton-John broke her coccyx bone, according to People.com, but she still carried on with the shoot. But it wasn't all bad, as she met her future husband, John Latanzi, who starred in the movie as a younger version of the Danny character. And thus, they really hit it off and got married and lived happily ever after. Until 1995 when they got a divorce. Number 6, a cinematographer's career takes off. Xanadu used the services of, at the time, newcomer choreographer Kenny Ortega, who helped to bring to life many of the movie's dance numbers. However, this was the start of a hugely successful career in choreography, as Ortega would go on to work on the choreography of dance scenes in movies such as Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Dirty Dancing, and Hocus Pocus, as well as the High School Musical movies. Not only that, but he also worked on the choreography on Michael Jackson's Dangerous and History World Tour concerts. He is still working on the choreography of movies and TV shows still to this day, and he was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2019. And, well, it all started in 1980 with Xanadu. Number 5, a famous animator lent a hand. In Xanadu, there is a musical number called Don't Walk Away, where the movie features an amazing animated sequence. The animation was created by the truly legendary Don Bluth. The animated sequence was added because the production felt that another musical number was needed, and it would be easier to use animation in order to make it fit in with the rest of the movie. At the time of Xanadu's production, Bluth had just left working for Disney, where he lent his services to Xanadu. And to be fair, the animation is pretty spectacular and has a classical Disney look about it. And its inclusion definitely gives Xanadu an extra wow factor. The following year after Xanadu, Bluth would animate the classic, The Secret of Nim, where he would then go on to animate other classics like An American Tail and The Land Before Time. So if you ever thought the animation sequence in Xanadu looked kind of Disney-ish, that's because it was created by Don Bluth, whom had just left Disney to go independent. Number 4, the music was more successful than the movie. Say what you want to say about Xanadu, at least it delivers when it comes to its funky music. The music consisted of the talents of Olivia Newton-John, naturally, the rock band The Tubes, and Electric Light Orchestra during their heyday. Apart from the title track, the other songs that Electric Light Orchestra used for Xanadu had already been written for a planned album, but ended up being incorporated into the movie. In fact, the powers that be really wanted everyone to know that Electric Light Orchestra worked on the movie, as the band's logo appears on the movie's poster. Despite Xanadu being considered a flop sandwich, the music itself actually did very well. In the UK, the title song of Xanadu reached number 1, and the soundtrack album was in the number 2 spot, and the song Magic reached number 1 in the US charts, and the soundtrack album went on to become double platinum. The popularity of the music used in Xanadu even led to the creation of an onstage musical in 2007 and 2008, which was considered a success among critics and audiences alike. And yes, the music of the movie is very enjoyable. Look at Olivia Newton-John here holding up the Electric Light Orchestra logo. Only in the late 70s and early 80s could this kind of imagery exist. It's awesome. Number 3, comic book adaptation. So Xanadu was adapted into a comic book, and I actually really love the illustrations on display here. They are very vibrant and colourful, and capture a sense of magic and fantasy. Seriously, I cannot overstate just how spot on and great the illustrations are in this comic. Even if the comic book's cover is a little meh. The comic itself was actually part of a Marvel's comic special. Yep, Xanadu is part of the Marvel universe. I would have loved to have seen Kira beat the shit out of Thanos in the Infinity Wars. That would have been pretty special. The comic even features original story plot points that were changed for the final film, such as Sunny creating the mural that led to the arrival of the goddess sisters. Number 2, Xanadu led to a real-life stalking incident. Xanadu may seem like all fun with its musical numbers and roller skates, it actually sadly led to a real-life tragedy, where a crazed fan in Louisiana thought that Olivia Newton-John was an actual Greek goddess, and was communicating with him through her eyes, thanks to her role in Xanadu. The man was so tormented by his troubled thoughts, he sadly took the lives of 5 people, and then set out to cause harm to several other people, including Newton-John herself. Thankfully, he was caught in Washington, D.C., where his rampage was put to an end permanently. Newton-John would go on to add, quote, "I guess because I was playing this ethereal character, he got reality and show business confused." The incident seemed to shake Newton-John up enough for her to leave the US at that time and move back to Australia for a while. And yeah, I can't blame her. That's a really scary and disturbing situation. Number 1, Xanadu created the Razzies. Xanadu was released in August 1980, and it was set to be the movie that furthers Olivia Newton-John's career, particularly as a solo artist. Sadly, that wasn't the case. Universal Pictures themselves had no faith in the movie, and cancelled press screenings, and Xanadu would only make $23 million on a $10 million budget, although there are claims that the budget could be more closer to $20 million. Either way, it wasn't the hit that was expected in the movie's earlier production. Xanadu ended up being shown as a double bill with fellow musical Can't Stop the Music. Xanadu got ripped apart by critics and audiences, with Variety calling it stupendously bad. Xanadu would make an important chapter in cinema though, but for the wrong reasons, as it helped to create the Razzies, as publicist John Wilson saw the Xanadu and Can't Stop the Music double bill and was refused his money back, which outraged him so much it prompted him to create the Golden Raspberry Awards, where in the event's first year, Xanadu was nominated for 6 Razzies and 1 for Worst Director. Olivia Newton-John was nominated for Worst Actress, but it was Brooke Shields who won the not-so-flattering award for her performance in The Blue Lagoon. Despite this though, those attached to the movie did still seem to have a fondness and respect for it. Gene Kelly said that Xanadu was a marvellous concept, it just didn't work on film, and despite its failings, Olivia Newton-John felt that Xanadu was a highlight of her career, as she got to dance with Gene Kelly. So why do I think it failed? Well, simply put, I guess people just didn't really get it at the time. That and the movie looks very 1970s kish, but Xanadu was released in 1980. To me, it represents a time when the 70s were winding down and the 80s were starting to take form. So maybe the strut of Xanadu just wasn't very cool anymore at that particular time. Either way, Xanadu has gone on to become a movie with an adoring fan base, who insist that it is a great movie, which showcases the amazing talents of Olivia Newton-John. The movie may not have done so well at the time, but that didn't stop Olivia Newton-John's star from shining the brightest. It's still hard to realise that Olivia Newton-John is sadly no longer with us, but her legacy will always live on, thanks to her performances and music that she has left behind, with Xanadu being no exception. Anyway, I'm Minty, and remember, if this guy wants a script, you better write a script or there will be trouble. He will totally lock you in a room. See ya!